Hi, my name is Taylor with Taylor Pape Photography, and I've been a photographer for 11 years now, specializing in studio newborn for the last 5, and I would love to teach you 4 tips and tricks on how to take your camera level from a beginner to a little bit more of a professional or even amateur. I'm going to teach you on my mirrorless camera, but these will be applicable on a DSLR and mirrorless. Some of these you can even manipulate on your own iPhone, so these might be able to help you even there. The first thing we're going to do is make sure that your camera settings are on manual. This is one that we're going to call set it and forget it. So you're going to set it on manual, you're going to forget it, and you're never going to have to touch it again. We're going to turn our camera on now. When I turn my camera on, it's got the more important roles right up here at the top. First, you're going to have that M, which shows you're in manual, and then you're going to have the shutter speed right there, your aperture, and your ISO. We're going to go into each of those individually. First, we're gonna go with ISO. Your ISO is what's gonna be changing depending on your environment around you. So this one is one that you don't change the environment, but you change it to your environment. So if you are in a really bright area, you want your aperture or ISO to be super low. That's gonna be around 100 for mine. So with 100, I'm gonna do that when it's bright outside, super middle of the day, absolutely sunny around like 3 p.m. here in Yuma. When you're inside, you're gonna want your ISO to be at a higher number. Mine ends up being around 6,400, but mine goes all the way to 64,000. The next one we're gonna look at is going to be your shutter speed. So your shutter speed is gonna be the amount that allows your camera shutter, which is a little lens that opens and closes and lets light into your camera. It tells it how fast to move. So this is gonna be important for images with moving subjects, running, a baby walking, a wedding, those kinds of things. You're never gonna want that number for that reason to get below 250, or your subject may not be in focus anymore. So 250 is the rule of thumb, not to let it below. Mine, I even prefer to keep at 320. I typically set that and almost forget that unless I don't have to worry about it. I usually will change my ISO and my aperture around based on what my surroundings are. We're gonna look at our aperture next. So your aperture is gonna be this number right here. Mine says 2.8. Each lens that you have attached to your camera is gonna have different numbers it allows yours to go to. So mine lets me go all the way down to 2.8 and all the way up to 22. The lower your number, the less is gonna be in focus, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna show you, for example, an image that I photographed recently. This was a image where we wanted the baby's foot in focus and the complete background out of focus. So at this one, my image was at 2.8. This allowed the baby's foot to be in focus, all the background to be completely blurred. The rule of thumb with this, if you add more subjects in and you're doing family or additional people, is 1 point per head. So you're gonna wanna add extra for the next people. So if I add mom in there, we're gonna want it at 3. If we're gonna add another person in there, 4, even so on and so forth, 5. Now, when you do add that aperture at a lower level, when your aperture is at a lower level, it is gonna let more light in. When it's at a higher level, it's gonna let a little bit less light in too. So it does have a multi-effect on that. So pay attention. You might wanna move your ISO around along with that aperture. I typically will leave that shutter speed alone if I don't have to mess with it. I hope these 4 tips and tricks were helpful and able to help you move your photography skills from a bit of a beginner, amateur, maybe even to professional.